It's time to wake up, Warriors.
We'll do an important addition to our staff, and she's looking to properly introduce herself. Stick around to meet our new assistant principal. Scheduling is coming up this next week, and students may need a refresher on how to make their schedules. Stick around to learn more. All this and more on today's episode of Wake Up Warriors.
Live from Penn Trafford High School, this is Wake Up Warriors. Wake Up Warriors starts now.
From the studios of PTTV, this is Wake Up Warriors on Tuesday, January 6th. I'm Allison Pallone.
And I'm Kaylee Drestall.
We're glad to have you with us this morning.
Let's get things started with today's show.
Recently, Penn Trafford gained a new important member of our staff, Mrs. Flaherty. She has joined our school as an assistant principal, and she'd love to get to know you all. Here's more from her so that you can get to know her as well.
So before I was here at Penn Trafford, I was an assistant principal at Wilkinsburg School District. And so I worked with students in pre-K to 6th grade. And then I was also prior a special education teacher, and I have taught from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade. So I got my undergrad at Robert Morris for social science, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do with that. So after I graduated, I went into the University of Pittsburgh for my master's degree in early intervention with an autism specialization. And so that kind of led me into teaching, where I was able to add on my teaching certification, and I just fell in love with it. And currently, I'm actually getting my doctorate degree from Point Park University. So I was looking for a sense of community. Where I was, I didn't really feel that I was going to be able to improve myself much further, I believe. And so I really wanted to find a district, because I currently live in West Mifflin, where I can raise a family. And Penn Trafford just seems like a really good place for me to bring my kids. And so ultimately, that's what made me apply. And so, just the family aspect of being here. Everyone I've met has been so respectful and very warm and welcoming. And, being the new person, it kind of is hard and overwhelming. And there's a lot of everyone else and only one of me. And so, just like the smiles and the waves and things like that. So I definitely really feel valued already. And so that's helpful. So, yeah, the people.
Next week, from Monday to Wednesday, counselors will be visiting classes during the day to help students schedule their classes for the 2026-2027 school year. Before this happens, it is important that students have an understanding of how they will schedule next week. For more information, visit the counseling website. Here's Ms. Submeyer.
To build your schedule for the upcoming school year in PowerSchool, the first thing you must do is go to powerschool.penntrafford.org/public. and log in using the web. If you do not know your PowerSchool login information, please contact your counselor so that they can send that to you. Once you have entered the website, you will navigate to the left side and click class registration. If you are taking a full schedule, you will make sure that you create 8 different classes, and you do this, or 8 different credits, and you do this by clicking the pencil on the right-hand side, opening up that subject, and choosing the class that you want to take. Once you choose that class, you hit OK. At the end, you want to choose any alternate courses that you may want to take if something on your schedule does not work out. If you are choosing to do a college release, a work release, or take a summer class, you would add those in addition to the 8 credits that you put in your schedule. So your credit hours would go over 8. And that allows us to then have a conversation when we meet, knowing what your plans are. Please make sure as you are building your schedule that you do have at least 8 credits by the time you hit submit. And you will get a page similar to this listing all of your courses at the end. That is how you know your schedule has been completed.
Hey PT, if you're hoping to be involved with Ski and Board, make sure you get your papers, dues turned into Senor Flynn before the first ski trip. Anyone who still wants to be involved, it's not too late to sign up and turn in forms. Here's Senora Birch with more information.
I am so excited, PT, because it's finally winter and there's snow on the ground, which means that PT Ski and Board is going to be heading to the mountain on Fridays. So because it's almost time for holiday break, please make sure that you have submitted your forms to Senior Flynn. If you need forms to join Ski and Board, they are outside Senior Flynn's room. There are 3 forms, and you pay $10 to join the club. Our first trip is the Friday after we come back from break. So get your forms into Senior Flynn and we'll hit the mountain.
In January, when students come back from break, the current freshmen, sophomores, and juniors will begin scheduling for the 2026-2027 school year. With this comes changes to the classes available to students. We talked to Ms. Suttmeyer to find out more about what these changes entail.
Some of the changes that are happening for the 26-27 school year. We are no longer going to have the current events class for juniors and seniors. It is going to be replaced with a U.S. History 1980 to present class. The Art Extensions classes, they previously were called Adobe Illustrator and Art Extensions Photoshop. They will now be called Digital Art Extension 1 and Digital Art Extension 2. We are offering a teacher intern program for those of you who are interested in working in the field of education. You will work with development of children and explore effective teaching practices while developing skills in communication, collaboration, and creativity. If you have more questions about that, please feel free to ask your counselor when you do your scheduling.
Do you want to be featured in the yearbook for more than just school events? This year, the yearbook staff is looking for new ways to spotlight the students who make our community unique. We spoke with Shelby Morrow and Taylor Gill to learn more.
This year, the yearbook has a new page dedicated to students who participate in outside of school activities.
These include anything from rodeo to youth groups, gymnastics, dance, Boy Scouts, really anything of that sort, and you can submit your photos to pt.yearbook on our Instagram.
Attention juniors. As the middle of the school year nears, it is important to make sure various things are done in order to graduate next year. One of these things are the Smart Futures activities, which you should have received an email about. We talked to Ms. Suttmeyer with more information.
In order for students to graduate from a Pennsylvania high school, they must complete a career plan by the middle of their junior year. At Penn Trafford, we have adopted Smart Futures, a program to help our students do this. In 9th grade, students should be completing 3 different artifacts, one in their English class, one in their social studies class, and one in their biology class. During sophomore year, you will complete 2 in social studies and 1 in your English class. During your 11th grade year, your social studies teacher will assign 1 and your English teacher will assign 1. These are all completed online and must be done by the spring of your junior year. Students who do not have these completed will be placed on the restricted list until they are done.
The Warrior Cash Dash is doing what they can to collect local food for communities and families this season, and you can help too. Up until January 31st, the Cash Dash is looking for donations such as canned goods, cereal, boxed meals, peanut butter, and other non-perishable foods. You can earn an hour for 3 items and 2 hours for 5. Items can be dropped off on Wednesdays and Fridays in the Cash Dash. Let's get involved and help our community, PT.
Last night, the Penn Trafford Warriors took on the Wheeling Park Patriots at a home for senior night. PT went on to win the game 6-4 with goals scored by Sean Goodman, who recorded a hat trick, Zach Gerkman, Brendan Prabola, and Rylan Kisty.
Tonight in sports, at 4 o'clock, the Rifle team faces off against Indiana at Murraysville Gun Club. The girls and boys basketball team have a doubleheader in the high school main gym against McKeesport at 6 o'clock and 7:30. Thank you for tuning in for today's broadcast of Wake Up Warriors. We now invite you to stand for the Pledge of the Flag. This has been Allison Pallone
and Kaylee Drestott.
Have a great day, PT.